Welcome to Soul Symbol Discovery with Angela Delcler.
Hello and welcome to this fourth video in the series, and today we will be covering Dalet number 4. So assuming you've already watched the introductory video, I'm going to dive straight into the screen share. So here is the energy of the 4, and it's named Dalet, and it relates to the letter D of our alphabet. So this symbol represents the ever-filling cups. So water flows in here, overflows into the next one, overflows into the next one. It's a repetitive process. And so this repetitive process also works in relation to what someone would hear or see and be able to replicate it precisely as they saw or heard it. And if they wanted to, they could actually embellish that particular process from their own means, their own understanding or knowledge. The biggest element, essence around this energy is trust. And it is about essentially learning to trust in God and feeling connected to the flow of abundance coming from God. So in the beginning, where there is doubt or insecurity around everything in life, they're not trusting that anything will be there for them, can make them very self-centered. So they try and hang on to whatever things they do have, whether it be a little or a lot. The self-centeredness can get somewhat distorted, and the more one learns to trust in the flow and share of that, the more comes in. I actually know someone who is getting on in years now, and he knows that whenever he's broke, he has to give something away and then, or donate some money to somebody, and then it always comes back to him. So despite the odds, it does actually work. So the more somebody learns to trust in the flow and share of that, the more comes in. And that includes sharing of oneself. Now, the people who have 4 energies in their name, especially in the karmic realm, they often have unexpected children because the children come in because they demand that you share of yourself unconditionally. That's what children do. And so it's there's no get-out clauses there. Ultimately, these people need to learn to have complete faith that the universe will support them in all their ventures. And of course, having that kind of faith is quite a stretch for younger people especially. So the direction for this particular energy is east, which means that, like the sun rises into life, they like to welcome new things into their life. In a karmic aspect, it is about the inability to allow in new possibilities. So it's always this thing about opposites when you have a polarity type of energy like this. The sun rising in the east brings heat and fire into life and an exchange of energies. And the sun does indeed govern this particular energy. Somebody with the force can derive a great deal new energy from the sun, a positive strength, a purity, a radiance. And it helps them to then start sharing of themselves, helps them to express themselves better. Now, this is a very physical energy, and it very much relates to the physical realm. However, in the negative way, it can bring in pride, arrogance, and an excessive desire to be special. So you have to watch for that, rein that in, and bring out the humility. So when we look at the karmic lessons that this particular energy brings in life, what does barrenness actually mean? It's a word that's not commonly used these days. It's quite an old-fashioned word. It means a lack of fertility. So it can represent abundance. It might be growing up with a lack mindset, but it's also about your attitude to life. Do you welcome abundance into your life genuinely, or do you tend to be rather pessimistic about it? Are you open to it, worthy of it, or do you need to be in lack? And these people can dwell on the self-centeredness, so they can indulge in everything they want and watch other people around them go without, and that doesn't bother them. The accidental children thing I've already mentioned, because children are so good at facing any of us with the lessons that we need to see. So the thing is, if somebody with the 4 energy has an unexpected child, especially with men, they will have all of their buttons pressed, and it will be quite challenging for them. There's literally no escape from the button pressing of your own child. So that will be something they will have to work through. There is only one way through, not around. There can be a poor self-esteem with this energy because of a deep subconscious feeling of being disconnected from God's abundance and love. And they have this deep feeling that there's something wrong with them or something bad about them. But that's not the case. It's just a feeling. So just as people can duplicate systems or abundance or whatever, they can also duplicate selfishness and push people out of the way. I have seen this happen. And this results in their own isolation. So if somebody is insistent on pursuing a goal of wealth at all costs, they will find themselves being a very lonely person. There has to be a balance. So in the negative still, there is this mistrust of flow, always assuming something will go wrong, perhaps looking to experiences in the past and seeing only the negative aspect and not learning the lesson from those experiences. If 4 Dalet is in the talent position in the chart, it can be a sign of nature expressing every idea born of abundance. And this person could be a great teacher, a statistician, accountant, or even a researcher, because they have the ability to absorb and duplicate and control a lot of information. They have a highly intelligent mind and can have very positive energies of the real achiever. In the goal position, the 4s will encourage the owner of these energies to share and expand all things in their life, including themselves, including love, knowledge, and money. They're here to radiate who they are to the world. In the spiritual goal position, there will be the added incentive of the soul steering them in the direction they came here to achieve in, because the soul ultimately wants to reconnect with the source and to duplicate the energies of source and share them with others. So what kind of healing would the 4s require to clear their karma, the negative aspects of this energy? Well, they need counselling or healing for the feeling that something is wrong with them. Groups can work, or healing workshops, as they'll have to share themselves with the other people in the group. And whilst it may not be instant, they'll have to learn that it's safe to do so, or know where they can feel safe and put themselves in that situation. Any form of group or community work is good, as it involves the sharing element. They need to have a regular form of spiritual practice so that they feel they are connected to God and start to feel the flow of God through them. So it may be just meditation, it may be tantra or journeying, but they certainly need to have the repetition to encourage that feeling of flow. If these people have children, they need to be encouraged to spend time with them, caring for them and playing with them. Get down on the floor and play with them. Because as they open up and share and join the child in that childlike environment, their unconditional love will start to come through them, and everybody will benefit from that. Going with the flow of nature is very important. So being out in the wild, or having a decent garden to work in, making perhaps growing organic food, recycling, living in a way which supports nature is always going to be beneficial because it involves the cycles of life. And again, we come back to this repetitive procedure of one cup filling another. And these people seek love. They need unconditional love to rebuild the trust in the flow of God. So, ironically, they find it difficult to give love sometimes, but that is what they need to bring it to them. So it has to be cyclical. The rebuilding of trust comes in small increments. So they find it difficult to trust in relationships. So the depth will take some time to achieve, but it can happen. So you'll find more information if you'd like to have a soul contract reading at angeladelglynn.com under the services tab. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. See you next time.